Hello friends, this is Sanjay. In today's video, we will talk about the syllabus, the preparation strategy and some important information for the Paper 1 EVS subject for the upcoming CTET 2022 examination. When we look at the structure of the CTET Paper 1 question paper, we see that EVS accounts for 30 out of the 150 questions in Paper 1. So this will be for 30 marks. What makes EVS very unique and very important is the fact that it is very much possible to score 100% in EVS. And if you look at the analysis of EVS questions from any previous year, you'll see that everyone agrees that EVS questions are usually of easy or moderate difficulty. So everyone agrees that it is highly possible to score 100% in the EVS part of Paper 1. Now the question is, why should you target to score 100% in EVS? Well, as you are aware, to clear CTET Paper 1, you need to get 90 out of 150 marks. That is, you need to score 60%. And by scoring 30 out of 30, that is 100% in EVS, you just have to score 15 out of 30 in all the remaining subjects. That is, you just have to score 50% in all the remaining subjects to comfortably clear CTET Paper 1. And by maximizing your marks in EVS, you are also maximizing your overall scores. So even from doing well in the CTET perspective, doing well in EVS is very, very important. Now the first question that you should answer is what kind of questions come in EVS? That is, when we look at any of the previous question papers, we can see that there will be 30 EVS questions, and these 30 questions can be split into two categories. There will be 15 subject matter or subject knowledge questions, and there will be 15 pedagogy questions. Now this 50-50 split might change in some ways. In the sense, there might be a slight variation in some years, but on an average, you can say that 50% of the questions will be subject knowledge and 50% will be pedagogy questions. Now, what is the difference between these subject knowledge questions and pedagogy questions? Well, subject knowledge questions are trying to test whether you know the subject, and pedagogy questions are trying to test whether you can teach the subject. Because as a teacher, first you should know the subject and you should be able to teach the subject. Only then you will be a good teacher, and the CTET examination is intended to test your ability to become a teacher. Here you can pause the video and read the 4 questions that I have given on the screen. These are some examples of what subject knowledge questions are all about. You can see that these questions are essentially testing your knowledge of the different aspects of the EVS syllabus. And these 4 questions are example of pedagogy questions. As you can see, these are testing your knowledge of how to be a teacher. They are talking about the constructivist approach, they are talking about active learning, authentic task, and the way that you can teach EVS concepts to children. When we look at the official syllabus of EVS as published in the various notifications, we see that EVS questions will be based on concepts, problem solving abilities, pedagogical understanding of the subjects, and application of the various concepts in real life. And it is also mentioned that for Paper 1 for EVS, the syllabus will be typically based on what is prescribed for classes 1 to 5 by the NCERT. That is, our primary reading material will be the NCERT class 1 to 5 EVS textbooks. But there is also a caveat. It is also mentioned that while the maximum number of questions might be based on the NCERT class 1 to 5 textbooks, there will be some linkages. That is, there will be some additional questions which can go up to the secondary stage. That is, classes 6 to 8. However, we have also seen some questions touching the class 9 and the 10 syllabus as well. So in general, the maximum number of questions will be based on the class 1 to 5 EVS NCERT syllabus. And there will be some questions which are at a higher level, and there will be some general questions as well. Like we previously discussed, there will be 30 EVS questions which can be divided into 15 subject knowledge questions and 15 pedagogy questions. Now these 15 subject knowledge questions can be further divided into direct questions and general questions. That is, there will be at least 10 questions which are directly based on the classes 3 to 5 EVS textbooks. And there will be 5 questions which are either general in nature, or they will be based on the classes 6 to 9 science, geography or biology textbooks, because there is no separate EVS subject in class 6 to 9. Now, these direct questions are actually based on the lesson content in these textbooks. EVS subject knowledge questions are mainly based on the 6 EVS themes that are prescribed in the syllabus. That is family and friends, food, shelter, water, travel, and things we may can do. And questions will also be based on the 4 sub-themes under the family and friends theme, that is relationships, work and play, animals and plants. Now that we know where the EVS subject knowledge questions come from, let us look at the 15 EVS pedagogy questions. These 15 EVS pedagogy questions can be divided into 2 categories. 10 questions will be based on the class 3 to 5 EVS textbooks. These are not based on the lesson plans. These are actually based on the introduction part of the textbook, the teacher's notes or the footnotes that are included under each chapter. And the remaining 5 questions are based on other documents such as the NCF, that is the National Curriculum Framework, or the Continuous and Comprehensive Evaluation Guidelines, or other NCERT Guidelines and documents. These pedagogy questions can touch upon the concept, the scope, or the approaches in teaching and learning EVS, and they can talk about the teaching and learning principles, various activities that are part of the teaching learning practices, and how to include children from different backgrounds into your classroom, and different types of teaching aids and material. So all such pedagogical aspects are covered under the 15 EVS pedagogy questions. If all of this analysis is sounding a little complicated, let me simplify this for you. There will be 30 questions in EVS, out of which 20 questions will be based on the class 3 to 5 EVS textbooks. Now these might be subject matter questions or pedagogy questions. So some of these questions will be directly taken from the lessons, and the pedagogy questions will be based on the introductions. They'll be based on the teacher's notes and the footnotes that are provided under each lesson. And 5 questions will be taken from the class 6 to 9 textbooks. Since there is no EVS here, they will be based on the science, social or biology textbooks, and there will be 1 or 2 general questions as well. And the remaining 5 questions will be from various other documents such as the NCF, that is the National Curriculum Framework, the CCE, that is the Continuous and Comprehensive Evaluation, and various other NCERT guidelines and documents. Now, more than 95% of the questions are based on previous question papers. I'm not saying that 95% of the questions are taken from the previous question papers. I'm saying they are based on previous question papers. In other words, almost 28 to 29 questions out of these 30 are based on previous question papers. So when I say that 28 to 29 out of the 30 EVS questions are based on previous question papers, so what do I mean? What is the meaning of this based? Well, it means that the questions may not exactly be the same as what you have seen in the previous question papers. That is, you might find same questions, but the answer choices might be different. Or you might find different questions, but the answer choices might be already what you have seen in the previous question papers. Or you might find the same question and the same choices, but some of the details might be changed, especially in calculation type questions. And in some cases, you might find that they are actually the same question and the same answer choices, but it is written in different words. So if you read the question carefully and if you understand it, you will see that it is almost the same question that you have already seen in the previous question paper. So, which goes to say that when you are solving the previous question paper, it is not just enough to solve them. You should actually understand the questions. So what is the difference between this solving and understanding? When you are solving a previous question paper, you are answering all the questions and you are just checking your answers and seeing whether you have answered them correctly or not. So this is a very simple and basic activity. But when you are trying to understand a previous question paper, then you are answering all the questions, you are checking your answers to see whether you have answered the questions correctly or not, and you are trying to understand why the correct answer is correct. And you are also trying to understand why the wrong answers are wrong or why the incorrect choices are incorrect. Which means that you are trying to get a complete understanding of the questions and all the answer choices. Therefore, it is very important that you should not just solve all the previous question papers, you should actually understand all the previous question papers and all the questions. When we discuss the previous question papers on the MagicExam YouTube videos, we will talk about the various concepts and the understanding behind the questions and the answer choices. We will talk about the various facts and figures that need to be memorized, because there is no understanding required here. These are just things that you need to remember, right? We will also discuss about the shortcuts to answering different types of questions. We will also touch upon guesswork or elimination strategies that can be used to solve different types of questions. And yes, a couple of other points that we have remembered to keep in mind is that the fonts that we have used are mobile friendly, so that you can read the questions and you can watch the videos on your mobile and still be able to read and understand the questions. So we have used large fonts wherever possible. And we have not only discussed the correct answers, but we have also discussed the wrong answers so that you get a better understanding of the entire question. And we have included explanations and examples wherever required. And each question is also time-stamped in the description so that you don't have to watch the entire video. You can directly go to the specific question and check out what the correct answer is. Now that you have a good understanding of what are the different types of EVS questions and where they come from, let's talk about the simple 5-step EVS preparation strategy. If you diligently follow this strategy, then you can definitely score 100% in the EVS section of paper 1. Step number 1 is to quickly try and solve 3 previous question papers from 3 different years. You don't have to spend too much time on this. You just need to read all the questions and try to answer them to the best of your ability. It's okay even if you are not able to answer a majority of the questions at this time, because what you are trying to do here, just get an understanding of what type of questions that you can expect in the EVS question paper. In step 2, go to the MagicExam YouTube channel and watch all the videos where we have solved all the previous question papers. Because in step 1, you became familiar with the different types of questions that you can expect. And by watching the videos where we have solved these questions, you'll get a better understanding of how should you approach these questions and what is the steps that you should take to solve these questions. After you have watched all the videos on our channel, you'll get a good understanding of what are the important aspects of the EVS NCERT textbooks that you should read. So then go and read and understand the class 3, 4 and 5 NCERT EVS textbooks. Because in the videos, we would have mentioned some parts such as you should read the footnotes or you should read this part of a lesson. So you'll have a better understanding of what are the aspects of this textbook that you should focus on. So after you watch the videos, go and download these EVS textbooks from the NCERT website and read all the parts that we have specifically mentioned in the videos. In step number 1, you tried to solve 3 question papers so that you get a good understanding of what kind of questions you can expect in EVS. In step number 2, you went to the MagicExam YouTube channel and you watched all the solved question paper videos so that you get a good understanding of how different types of questions should be approached. And based on the information that we have discussed in the videos, you went to step 3 and you read the class 3, 4 and 5 EVS textbooks and get a good understanding of the conceptual side of the textbooks and what are the various aspects that you should focus on, what is it that you should remember, what is it that you should understand. And then comes step 4, where you will go back to the question papers and try to solve them in exam conditions. And this is where you are actually trying to understand the question papers. That is, after you have answered the question papers, check all the answers and see which one of them you have answered correctly and which one of them are incorrect. Wherever you are not sure about some question, if you have answered some question through a guesswork strategy, or if you have answered some question incorrectly, then go back to the MagicExam YouTube videos and you can use the timestamps in the description to go directly to that question in that video and see how this question should have been approached and answered. So you have to do this for all the previous question papers. And the last step, that is step 5, is to keep practicing and keep repeating step 1, 2, 3 and 4 as many times as possible. Because many times we see that some of the students, they start their preparation and they will complete all the question papers once and then they become overconfident and then they relax. So once you relax, whatever you have learned, whatever you have understood, whatever you have memorized starts going down. So it is very, very important that you should repeat all the steps 1, 2 and 3, 4 at least 2 or 3 times by the time you are ready for taking the exam. And with every repetition, focus on your weak areas. You will get a good understanding of where are you going wrong. Are you going wrong with the pedagogy questions? Are you going wrong with the subject matter questions? Are you going wrong with the calculations? So based on that, you can fine tune your preparation. So this is the simple 5-step approach to preparing for the EVS part of CTET paper 1. First, you solve at least 2 or 3 question papers and get an understanding of what type of questions you can expect. 2, go to the MagicExam YouTube channel and watch all the videos so that you get a good understanding of how to approach and answer these questions. And in step 3, you are going to go to the EVS textbooks and focus on the important areas and the important chapters that we have discussed in the videos. And in step 4, you are going to solve all the question papers in exam conditions and try to understand them. And step 5 is to repeat step 1 to 4 at least 2 or 3 times before the exam. And with each repetition, you have to focus on your weak areas. So follow the steps and you can definitely score 100% in EVS part of CTET paper 1. So that's it for now. If you have any questions or comments, please post them in the comments below and I will try to answer them. And please do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And if your friends are also preparing for the same exam, please do share this video with them so that it can help them out and it will also give us a couple of more views. Thank you, stay safe, and I will see you again shortly in the next video.